Join me now, senior fellow from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, Jared Bernstein, and president of the American Action Forum and former CBO director, Doug Holtz-Eakin. Thank you both for being here. Jared, okay, so a lot of this looks good. We laid out some of the facts in this report. Is it good?
It is good. You didn't mention a key number. Mentioned a lot of numbers, so no critique there. There's a lot in these CBO reports.
Go for it. You're numbers guy, so I expected that.
Thank you. 16.5 million low-wage workers would get a direct boost, according to the CBO, to their paycheck, and another 8 million would get an indirect lift. Those are workers who earn a little bit more than the minimum wage, who their employers would give a bit of a bump to. That's over 24 million workers who get a pay hike through this policy, according to CBO. 500,000 employment loss. So there is a cost to this, but if you factor that in, this is a program that has a 98% success rate. That is, it helps 98% of the people that targets, and I challenge you to find another program that does this much good to folks that need the income this much at no cost to the federal budget.
All right, we cannot go tete-a-tete here, my friend. You've got a bigger brain than I do when it comes to this stuff. So how about your challenge? We'll go to Doug. Doug, he challenges you here, Jared does, to come up with a better plan. Is there one that's out there?
Well, let's first stipulate that the interest in this is not mere politics. This has been a very subpar recovery, not just for those who can't find a job, but for those who have jobs and haven't seen their real wages, their incomes rise. And so that's the foundation for this debate. It's a real problem that needs to be addressed. I'm not a fan of this approach because if you look at the earnings that come out of raising the minimum wage, they don't go to people in poverty. Only 19% of it, according to the CBO. This doesn't target the poverty population, and it does hurt a group we really do worry about. Low-skilled workers, 500,000 of which would not find a job. To put that in perspective, the two big low-wage employment sectors are eating and drinking places, retail trade. That's a year's worth of job growth. So if we want to put on hold jobs for the low-skilled population for a year, then fine, go ahead. But that strikes me as a big cost.
Okay, so let me respond to that. First of all, I completely agree and appreciate Doug beginning where he did, with an emphasis on improvement in the recovery is the best policy for all workers throughout the pay scale. Yes, but on the poverty point, I strongly disagree in the following sense. 70% of the benefits go to families whose incomes are below $50,000. So Doug is right. It doesn't just go to the impoverished families, it reaches up into the middle class. And frankly, that is a feature, not a bug. That's an attractive part of this program. It is not as perfectly well targeted as something like the Earned Income Tax Credit, but there's nothing wrong with lifting the wages of middle income earners as well. Secondly, on the jobs point, it is true that some of these workers will be displaced. I want to be upfront about that, although far more benefit. However, once those displaced workers get a new job, and they will, once they get a new job, and they will, because there's a lot of churn in that market, it will be a better job.
I want to get both of your big brains around this. That 500,000 number, also in the report, when you look at it, it says it could be more than that, possibly, because they add in the variability. It could be even a million. Talk about the 500,000, though. How do we help them?
I'm deeply worried about the 500,000 because if you think about what this policy does, it says you're a low-wage, unemployed worker, 500,000 of you are not going to get jobs, right? We're not going to get back to full employment quickly, and so we're essentially going to take an income you could have had and give it to someone else who might have $50,000. That's a terrible redistribution. Doesn't solve poverty problems at all. So that 500,000 is a number to worry about. It's a big part of the labor force that has been hurt badly in this recession.
So look, I mean, first of all, I think the CBO highballed the number a bit. Let's say it's 250, 200,000, something like that. Again, I would be very hard-pressed to not help 24, 25 million people in the interests of 100 or 200,000. You're right to frame the question the way you did. What can we do for them? And Doug said the answer. We can get back to full employment as quickly as possible so they get back into the labor market with a better, thanks to the minimum wage increase.
So Jared Bernstein bringing up a Spock quote there, right? The good of the many or the good of the few.
May the force, I can't do it, but you know.
I'm glad that my good friend Jared is the one proposing to be indifferent to the well-being of the low income people on behalf of the middle income.
I think
That's fine, Jared. You can have that one.
No, that's not
but
at
I
all
want to
where I'm
agree with him
coming
on the growth thing. The top thing here would be to have better economic growth. This is a sideshow, and it raises hopes inappropriately. There's not going to be the great benefit out of this. Let's get serious about having a better recovery, and that would be much better.
Well, guys, we're going to have to leave it there.
24 million people getting a wage boost.
Thank you
not
so
a
much,
sideshow.
Jared Bernstein, Doug Holtz-Eakin.
Thank you.
Wind up and go with you guys. I love it. And I had 3 more full screens, 3 more graphics I wanted to go through.
Too bad.
We'll have to do that next time, my friends. Thank you for stopping by.
Bye-bye.
All right.